Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a Visual Studio tutorial. So for anyone that doesn't know what Visual Studio is, it's basically a coding software. So you can use it obviously generally for normal coding. So it's mainly coding in C# or C++. You can use it for like .NET stuff, and you can use it for like debugging sort of like programs and sort of for like UI tools. There is a lot of things that you can use Visual Studio for, but the main uses that mainly people use it for is coding. So in today's video, I'm just going to be doing a simple sort of follow along with me tutorial. It's something very easy that people can follow along with. I thought I'd start with an easier one, and then I can do other Visual Studio tutorials in the future and kind of show you other things that maybe are a little bit more advanced. So I'm just using the 2019 version. You don't have to use the same version that I am. I'm just using this version because it's just a version that I like more than the other versions. So we're going to go create new project, and then once the page loads, it will give you a list of different ones that you can use. So you've got an empty one, you've got web application, class library, ASP.NET web application, console application. I'm just going to be using the Windows form one. I'm not going to give it a name, so I'm just going to call it whatever the program gives you as a like default name for it. You can give it a name if you want to, but I'm personally not going to do it just for this video. I don't really need to make a name for the file. And then once it opens, obviously we can then get started. So it will open basically a form, and the only things that we're going to be using for this tutorial is we're going to be adding some buttons, and we're going to be adding a text box and the actual web browser itself. So I'm going to do the buttons first, just because obviously it's easier to add them and then add the web browser sort of last. So the first button I'm going to do, I'm just going to call it back. And then the next one, I'm going to call it forward. And then I'm going to do a refresh button. So like if you wanted to like refresh your page. And then I'm going to do a home one. So like if you wanted to sort of go back to, you know, the start sort of thing, then you could do that. And then I'm going to do another button. And this one is going to be called Go. So this is what we will use to sort of get the program going. And then all I need is a text box. The text box is basically what we're going to be using to type the URL in. So that is what the purpose for the text box is. And then the last thing is just the web browser itself. And I'm just going to enlarge it to the size that I want it to. And then we can get started on coding all of the buttons to get it to actually work. So click on the back button and it will open a new page. And all we're going to do is write web browser, and it's just web browser 1.go back. That's literally it. And then do the same for the next button. And just put go forward. And then for the refresh button, as you can see, it literally is straightforward in terms of the code. There's not much to write. The home button is the one that you do need to write a little bit more code for, but I will explain it as I'm going through it. So again, web browser 1.navigate. The reason why we're saying navigate is we want this button to do something when we click it. And then in here, you're just going to put a link to whatever you want your homepage to be. So for example, if you have a blog and you wanted your blog as the home screen, you could put that. If you wanted, say, your YouTube channel as the home screen, you would do that, and so on and so forth. So obviously this one you can edit as you feel, whatever you want your homepage to be. And then the go button is the last one that we need to code. So it's web browser 1 dot navigate, again, because we want that button to do something when we do it. And then we need brackets, text box 1, which, as I said, the text box is what we are typing the web browser sort of names into. So like if you wanted to go to Google, you type it in that text box. So that's why we need this. And you have to put dot text. If you don't put dot text, this will not work. The program will just give you an error. And then that is basically all done. If we start up the program, you'll see it will say build start down here, and then it will sort of load into the screen. So this is what we've got. So if I type www.google.com and press go, we now have Google on here. So if I just accept it, it's got the Google page. If I go home, it should go to whatever we've set it as. It might give you an error. Mine is personally giving me an error, but it doesn't mean that it's not working. It's just it might not accept the link that you've put. It might just be that I need to take out, if we go back to the code, I might just need to take out the HTTP part. So it might just be that. So I will retry it. It might just be that it just didn't like the name and code first. Sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it can just be very temperamental, but it doesn't mean that the program doesn't work, because obviously, even though it might not go to a home page, it does still go to other sort of pages. So if I just stop the program and I restart it, it doesn't mean it doesn't work, because obviously if I was to type yahoo.com and then press go, okay, it doesn't like that one for some reason, but sometimes it doesn't like certain websites. For some reason, it's just not liking mine, but you do get this issue. Obviously, coding does not always come without its issues. Obviously, if I click Google, it does work. Obviously, it just doesn't seem to like the Yahoo website for some reason. But that is basically how to put a web browser into Visual Studio, and I will see you in my next video.